Comrade, sir, we have so many protests today in Abuja, we had in Lagos and some other states in the East. How would you say this protest is significant to the demanding increase in minimum wage?
It's just a sensitization protest. It's to raise awareness about the demands of labor and also to make a statement to want a very responsible government. You see, because the minimum wage issue, by virtue of the large minimum wage struggle, make it mandatory that every 5 years there has to be a review of that wage. So what the present struggle is trying to enforce a wage that is 2.5 years due. Because the last minimum wage was enacted on March 23rd, 2011. So by March ending of 2016, we ought to have a new wage. That is one. Secondly, belated as that wage demand is, you see, the government is so irresponsible that its representative in the tripartite meeting could be twisting the fact in the guise of a minister called Ngige. Because the fact of the matter is there were negotiations. Labour make a presentation of 56,000 naira. Organized private sector made its own. Governors, for whatever they call themselves, also made their own. And there was an agreement, which is 30,000 naira. So what you have in the last few weeks is a minister of government twisting the fact, creating confusions, to give the impression that negotiation is on. Negotiation has been concluded as far as the figure of that minimum wage is. So we expect a government to set in motion the process of making the agreed sum, you see, and other issue contained in those agreements, you see, into law. So that we have a minimum wage law. So, but what you are having is that they are raising all manners of confusions. Even if a wage is 1,000, no employer ever want to pay. Right from slave era, employer always want cheap labor. They don't want to pay. So when they are raising the questions of ability to pay, you see, one, you must know how irresponsible they are even on that. The current wage demand of 30,000 is just 5,000 more than what some states are already paying. Because when we had the minimum wage of 18,000 enacted, you already have Edo State paying 25,000. So Edo could not have been part of those governors who make representation of 20,000.
But if
for a wage you want to review.
If Edo State can pay 25,000, why are other states saying?
That's the point that we are saying. You see that people who profit on the sweat of others will never want to pay.
But states like Ekiti, Osun State, do you think they have the capability to pay this 30,000?
But they have the capability to take security vote. From where is security vote coming from? From the national income. So senators from Osun, senators from other places have capacity to pay, have to be paid 13.8 million on a monthly basis. You see? So that is why when people come with all sorts of arguments about ability, we are talking about state, we are not talking about individual. It is about the management of the resources of the state. If the resources of the state, and we are talking the resources in terms of the Nigerian state, are properly deployed, 30,000 is too minimal. You see, why I use the word irresponsible to them is that none of them can live on that wage. If you tie the wages of politicians to the national minimum wage, you will not see them in that National Assembly. Because what they are doing is enjoying what they call living wage. Whereas workers are denied living wage. The Constitution of Nigeria is very clear on some of these issues. They always claim rule of law, rule of law. Where is the rule of law in the government? Who will read the Constitution upside down? The Constitution was clear. There shall be a national minimum living wage. That's the emphasis of the Constitution. A national minimum living wage. That is the wage that takes a worker to live. So each time you see the allowances of the politicians that are being increased, it is based on the prevailing cost in the market. Unfortunately, many Nigerians are not aware of the import of minimum wage. They think minimum wage is about public servants. No, it's the base wage with which to relate other wages in national economy, in national productions. And as a matter of fact, that is the only wage that is available in the Nigerian economy. All the Nigerian workers, give them their wages today, whether you are working in public or private sectors. None of their money lasts in the bank. Those monies are in the market. Where is Mr. President's wage? Where is he buying fuel? The cloth Mr. President is wearing, and most of the governors, they are imported materials. They are serving productions in other countries. Where are their children schooling? So Nigerian money is to fund the education of their children abroad. Where are they having their healthcare services? Go and look at their houses, the bulbs in their houses. Where are they produced from? So their commodity exchange, their taste, you get it, is taking our money to what we call capital flight to service economic over there. So it's this wage of workers that is circulating in national economy. So wage, anytime there's a minimum wage, is also used to redress. You get it now? It's a redistribution of wealth. Because what you collect now, you get it, you spend it.
But some economists have the opinion that increase the minimum wage will bring about inflation in the Nigerian
No, these are economics that lack concrete reality, that lack the basis. When you increase your production, you get it. Production gives you additional income. Additional income gives you savings. Somebody work. You see, let me puncture what those economists are talking about. Go to GTB. Go to UBA. Ask for the annual yearbook. What you are likely to see, declaring a profit, 120 billion, after tax profits. The list of them will declare about 70 billion after tax profits. Go and check the overhead cost. You see? Of running the UBA, the GTB, or any other banks. What you are likely to see will show you the clear picture. You see, somebody who has 70 billion profit after tax and has committed just maybe about 10 billion for overhead costs, infrastructures, and every in that year. So, but he has that profit. Those workers made that profit. So the increase in wages, we only have taken me just additional 4 billion from that. So when you now say ability to pay, is that bank not able to pay? Because they make profit. You go to the ATM, they are not working. Why are they not working? Well, if you invest in services, you get it. It takes more money. So customer even suffers at that level. So employers are always interested in cutting corners, sharp corners. So what you are seeing now, you get it, is what happened with slave era time. You know, Europe, they are developed, Americans, they are developed. Where was the labor? Labor were brought from here. They were not paid for. So the way they are paid is just the way to make a worker to live, so as to be able to work for them to have more money. So minimum wage is not a dash. It's a right. Because your standard of living is affected by it. So as a matter of fact, the cost of inflation is caused by them. If you increase fuel prices, costs went up. Wage still remain at the same level. You see? Let them live on that wage. And you see, for you to see it, you have a professor in the universities. The highest paid professor is not even having earning 500,000 naira a month. That's the argument some of us are opposed to them. Change that professor now. You get it now. Remanufacture that professor as an election rigger who can become a senator. From the same national income. That professor now, translated now into a senator, can now earn 13.8 million. So that professor can now be paid as a politician. But the same professor cannot be paid as a professor offering services in the university because there is no ability to pay. But there is ability to pay the professor once it's translated into a politician. That is the sense of it. So the point about the argument of ability to pay, you get it, is deliberate distortions, you see, of the reality of what is happening. Thirdly, and most importantly, there is no private capital in Nigeria. Dangote, all of them and co, richest money and everything and co. Where are their capital? It's the public wealth. They are looting. The latest is what has happened with what it calls Skybank and Polaris. That has become Polaris. 800 billion has been injected into that. From where? Public sources, not private capital. So education needs resources now, there will not be money to bail it out. As you have been making demand of 1.3 trillion to revamp our universities from the 2009 agreement. Government has committed only 200 billion. So as at today, government has committed 3.3 trillion into failed banks, private capital. So it's important to expose this. So why they will not pay is that one, when you run a government that is driven by IMF and World Bank, you get the presidencies, IMF, World Bank. It's the agenda. Poor pay, cheap labor, collapse the economy. So when the economy cannot generate additional income, so you have that problem. But even in the midst of that, they are looting. So it's simple. There's an agreement. Where we stand on this matter, there's an agreement. Respect the agreement. Don't distort the agreement. You see, it's not about renegotiation. Labor demand is 56,000. Labor demand is not 30,000. 30,000 is the agreement. So when the guy busy running his mouth, you see, because he has access to the media, you see, and could distort information, it must be put in its place. There is a minute of meeting. There are resolutions by those in that committee. Bring that out. So if you want to have separate meeting with the governor, that's his own.
So what is the demand of the...
No, the demand is negotiation has been concluded. There's an agreement too of 30,000 naira. You get? Let them set the necessary process in motion. Take that to the National Assembly. The new minimum wage is this. Work out all the parity structures across the board to reflect what the new minimum wage is. You see? And stop all those diversions that they are doing. In the absence of that, we are joining up with the organized labor for an indefinite strike action. So today going around is to sensitize Nigeria that that minimum wage is for you. It's for the traders in the market. It's for the transporters on the road. It's for the farmers in the village. It's for all categories of workers in the formal sectors. And it's the only wage that is servicing the economy. Because the wages from presidency, from the parliament, all of them who are earning those wages constitute what they call capital flight to service economic other places. So every Nigerian stands to benefit from the minimum wage.
You said you'll be going on an indefinite strike action.
From November 6th.
Looking at the antecedents of labor union in Nigeria, it has not really been what the people want. Talking about strike action, we see labor people coming to ASU strike and their plan did not go to. What is the assurance that labor will give Nigerians this time around that 30,000 is 30,000?
You see, let me say this, that Nigerians too also have to understand labor. You see, we are not paid to struggle. Struggle is not an Ajagunta thing. Everybody has to be part of the struggle. And one of the first things struggle is because there's an assumption also by most Nigerians that some people are created to struggle. It's everybody. People struggle for their freedom. if everybody is involved in the struggle, if people are taking advantage of that struggle, we condemn it. This is not the first time we are fighting minimum wage. No minimum wage has ever been won without a struggle. The first minimum wage struggle was in pre-Nigeria, led by Michael Imodu, Labour leader number 1. 1942, they call it cost of living allowance. You have 1945 general strike, you have 64 general strike. You get it? You have the 71 Adepo Award. The Doji Award was the only one when they say Nigeria had no money to do with it. 78, we struggle for minimum wage and achieve it. You see? 2000, we struggle for minimum wage, we achieve it. What you have been at 2011 minimum wage was a struggle that lasted another 2.5 years, from 2009 to 2011. So we have never waged a struggle of minimum wage without concluding it. So this one, we are going to conclude it. And we are going to conclude it on 30,000. So Nigerians should not have any, what I can call, disillusion. You see? The other thing, yes, is expectations of Nigerians. Labour should fight for this. Labour should fight for this. Yes, Labour should fight for all those things. But to make Labour to fight effectively, it has to be the struggle of every Nigerian. There's a problem we have in our country, and we must all accept that responsibility. We all want to be spectators in our affair. It's like Arsenal and Manchester United are playing. So the other Nigerians are now like, so Labour is now like whether Arsenal, government and all those who are looting money, and now like Man U. You get it? So the Nigerians are now the spectators. Who are the victims? The victims and Labour are supposed to be together. There should be nobody watching the fight. You get it? So if Labour is able to make headway, say, yes, Labour is good now. So, but when they throw a punch that put Labour down, they say, we have told them. Struggle is not that way. So we want to appeal Nigerians to have understanding. Nobody is born to struggle. But where there are problems, where there are oppression, where there are cheating, where workers' interests are being undermined, because once you undermine the interests of any worker, you have undermined the interests of an average Nigerian family. Because people are not seeing it that way. It is the wage with which you are going to send your children to school. It is the wage for the children you are taking about. Even for education, you cannot have it. So when you see that wage, it's not even for the present workers. And that's why some students who will never understand that they are workers in training. When there is a struggle of workers, are you not going to be workers when you leave school? The same poor starvation wages those workers are collecting are what you are going to collect there. So that is the point. So that the minimum wage goes beyond the present beneficiary. And as a matter of fact, the more money you are able to free from looting, the better for the society. So part of the reason why they say they cannot pay is that they have more money they want to loot. You get it? More money they want to take to Europe. You see, more money to take to elsewhere where they want to enjoy. That is what is happening. And that is what the minimum wage represents to them. It's a tax on the profit they are making. It's a takeaway from the looting that they are doing. Because the moment the minimum wage is enforced and it has to be paid, it will have blocked some corners where they have free money. That is what is happening. So the questions of payment, we have the capacity to pay. You get it? I ever down this economy, any economy that can pay jumbo wages for for politicians, elected officers and everything and go. But when it now comes to the poor, anything the poor have to benefit, there's always no money. All the time they have been promising to cushion the effect of increases in fuel. Where have you ever seen those services? They are nowhere. You see? You see, and that's what Fela talk, RNG government, party government. You get that is what, whether na PDP or APC or all of them, Mr. Buhari who says Mr. Clean. Which Mr. Clean? Mr. Clean, they accept IMF World Bank. IMF now, na thief. You get World Bank na thief. Go and study their history. No country has ever progressed with IMF and World Bank. Go and look at Africa. No way. You see? So any country that wants its freedom will not have policy driven by IMF and World Bank. You know the CMF have released a report now. Nigeria is witnessing economic growth. Abi, if you are witnessing economic growth, what does it mean? You should be able to pay minimum wage.
So on a final note, Comrade, how will the Labour ensure that this struggle for minimum...
We are part of Labour. That's why we are there.
So how will we ensure
that
that this struggle for minimum wage is not politicized?
No, it's political. They are different. You see, political. You see, people make mistake. The difference between personal politics and being political. The demand by workers for wages is political. It's a right that the political right that the workers have. As a matter of fact, the extension of it, if workers have better education, we need a workers' party now to vote for. I will not be struggling for minimum wage. It's easy. You get it? The thing is to rally all Nigerians around the workers' party now and throw away all this government of looters. That's the political sense. Why must we be begging any looting government for minimum wage? Why must have a government who ab initio its responsibility is to ensure living wage for Nigerians in this country? And I think that is sense. You see? So it's not about no wage, no vote. No. Our vote should go for a workers' candidate. Workers' party. That's the realization.
But sir, we've seen
unfortunately, 2019, yes, you may not have that. But I'm saying the political sense of it. It is political on them because, first, it's not about PDP or that. The political sense of the wage is that the downtrodden society must live slavish life, must be underdeveloped. You get it? Political sense for us is that we have to move beyond that. You see? Because if we have a party of the working people, a party of the poor masses, we will redefine the context of minimum wage. Because in other countries, minimum wage is determined after you have taken out all the collective interests of everybody. You grant everybody education from national income. You grant everybody health from national income. You grant everybody access to shelter from national income. So when you have your wage has value. Because you don't have to spend for education. You don't have to spend for health. You get it? You see? Electricity is a right. It should not be a commercial thing. In modern day, who must have access to electricity? What do you have today? You get it? Even your utility allowance cannot pay for 2 days electricity. So the point is that the wage gives us an opportunity to free ourselves. I think by the next review of the minimum wage, workers ought to learn from here. We must not be begging those irresponsible people in power again for minimum wage. Let's go for political power. Let 2019 be the last. You get it? You are the mercy, you see, of two bad set of political parties for people who want to make a choice. And that is why people must look beyond the PDP and APC. They are the same, of the same interest, though. You see? If they have an alliance of working people with other candidates to change the countries, that would have been the best, too. And have a program that can change the country. Not this rot of Atiku, Buhari. They are both creation, they are both twins of the IMF and the World Bank. They have nothing to offer. Starvation wages. Looting and looting. You say you they do EFCC. Looting. So that's the point. So pay this wage. You get it? It's the reducible minimum. And that way we have to appeal to our labor colleagues. You get it? It's even ridiculous. How much is 30,000? 30,000 is not up to $100. In 1981, minimum wage was $250. 125 naira minimum wage in 1981. A dollar was 45 kobo. So Nigerian workers in 1981 had better wages than what you're having now. So you're having wage now. There is an underdevelopment of the Nigerian workers of today. And people are now saying, you cannot pay. And people are now playing with us and go. Workers must show their anger. You see? So that is the thing. As far as we are concerned, we are going to encourage the workers. Even 30,000 is just grudgingly, should just be grudgingly accepted. Grudgingly accepted. It's taking nobody anywhere. You see what they wanted to do? Some of us saw it as far back as early this year. When NSC was marking the anniversary, Ngige was there, and I said it clearly. Don't promise anybody any wage. We have always fought for the wages. I told Nigerian workers there. We have always fought for the wages. So don't now think that because you want to pay whatever useless wages they want to be, starvation wages, that will now encourage people now to go and vote for them. They must vote them out. You get it? You see? The only sad aspect is that people will vote for the other chief. You get it? You see? If there is a way, and that is why Nigerian problem, I've said it, is not about election. We need another transition. And you can only achieve another transition by setting aside this transition. That's the truth. 2019, we only achieved taking out one chief as well as we talk. You get it? Party, give them the answer. I mean, now only one answer you go get. That is what 2019 is all about.
Thank you very much, Comrade Abiodun. We're so glad to have you in the studio today.